Officials say U.S. forces conducted strikes in Iraq and Syria against 5 facilities that were tied to an Iran-backed militia.
An Iranian-backed militia in Iraq now calling for U.S. forces to be pushed out of that country.
Can we just take a moment to acknowledge how pathetic of a throw that is? I mean, look at the first time too. He almost hits the dude. And then he just like arches his back and uses his lower back muscles just to throw that. Anyway, I know I haven't been active for a while, and I just kind of got sidetracked with doing things that are way more fun than YouTube, but AMTV just has this thing of bringing me back where I have to keep on criticizing them because, I actually went back to their channel. All their videos are pretty much just private now. Pretty sure they are private because I tried to like check the feed and stuff, and yeah, the ones I can access to always saying the user made it private. So naturally, I'm just thinking confused, is this like their thing that they do? Is that every year they're like, this is going to be the end of the world, this is going to be the end of the world. And then when it isn't, they just go and erase any evidence of that whatsoever. I mean, that's probably going to be the new trend they're doing, but I just don't know if they've ever done it before, So, but, it's always a new year, it's 2020, and AMTV seems to be starting off the world with revelations. And with that, I couldn't resist having to tackle this sweet video about modern topics too, nonetheless.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksam. This is AMTV Media, hard-hitting and in your face. Please thumb up, share this video. I want to discuss something very important that a lot of people are forgetting, that we were almost on the brink of war with Iran. President Donald.
It's funny how people keep saying that, because I just, every time it happens, we just never go to war with Iran. It's almost like we're trying to avoid it, actually. And if you look at it, I mean, you could list an entire Wikipedia page of things that we could have gone to war with Iran, not to mention all the recent stuff, like the drone takedown, and the contractor being killed by their militia or whatever. But yet, we're trying to avoid it, not just charge headfirst into this.
John Trump, he canceled at the last minute. He had all his cabinet members ready to go. They were ready to strike Iran inside of their own country, hit military and other battery sites along their coastline as well, and then the Strait of Hormuz. Why? Because they shot down a U.S. drone, reportedly, and people forget that we're literally on the brink of war with Iran, and we've seen escalations that the mainstream media hasn't really been discussing. Because
I love how he says that the mainstream media doesn't discuss this, and yet proceeds to use a mainstream media article that's discussing the topic.
They're only focused on impeachment. Look, we're going to get into a very chaotic year as we are facing all these domestic issues and the division in this country, with a huge chunk of this country, unfortunately, wanting to tear it apart for their own political hatred. And we see something that is building up, whether it's with Russia and China and Iran, with their just newly military operations they've conducted.
Wow, enemies of the United States would try to form their own version of NATO here? That's never been seen before.
Military exercises together jointly, preparing to strengthen this alliance. We've seen the creation of the Space Force from the United States military, the new branch of the Space Force announced by President Donald John Trump. But what does the Space Force mean? That means that, look, they've been operating in space for a long time already. Now they're just coming out.
What? We've been in space before? No fucking way, dude. You're just telling me lies now.
Publicly with it. What the Space Force really means is there's military bases in space already. All right, the fact that they're rolling it out publicly means that there's been things going on in our orbit that millions of people aren't aware of, obviously, and other countries are.
Well, let's see. If this photo's to be believed, then we got a satellite in the top left, some missiles coming back to Earth in the bottom left. In the center, we got what looks like, a few more satellites, maybe a rocket. And bottom right, we got another rocket going out. And, oh yes, the moon. Obviously, there's a person like that living on the moon. The moon's actually just a house right there. And, yeah, this is all to scale, too. This is what it looks like.
Doing as well. And now we see an obvious escalation with Iran. And I want to read.
Wait. What's What's with that photo? It just transitions that. Does Iran just have like a satellite ready to take out, and forgive my geography, that looks like France maybe? Does the US go to war with Iran and they just gonna fucking blast France back to like the 18th century?
You some reports on this as we head into the new year. A lot of people forget that we've been in the Middle East for so long. I mean, we have literally gone from country to country to country, toppling governments and influencing elections, right? I find it so funny how people think that other countries shouldn't try to influence our elections with social media posts, and we literally overthrow governments if we don't.
Hey, don't be confusing us with the dirty pigs over in the CIA, okay? They do not represent us and our choices here. The CIA just acts on its own accord.
Like them. So this is reported coming from the U.S. military. U.S. airstrikes left 19 people dead in Iraq and Syria on Sunday in retaliation against an Iranian-backed militia group blamed for a rocket attack 2 days earlier that killed an American contractor. F-15 Strike Eagles hit 5 targets associated with Hezbollah, the Iranian-sponsored Shia militia group, said the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper. So, I mean, look, we've already known for some time that there's been a major proxy war between either Israel or people who we're aligned with in the Middle East as well against other Shia militia groups, whether it was in Iraq, whether it's in Syria. Hezbollah is basically kind of an arm of the Revolutionary Guards in Iran, and we've seen multiple wars waged between Israel and Hezbollah and Lebanon, and this is obviously a proxy war right now, but
well, at least he has a little bit of a brain here, because yeah, the Middle East has always been a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and we just happen to get caught up in the middle of it.
But again, we were just on the brink. We were just on the brink, and these kind of escalations, look, makes the whole situation much dangerous, obviously, but it shows you that we haven't pulled out of the Middle East, right? It shows you that our troops aren't coming home. It shows you that we are going to stay permanently until we finally chop off the snake, the head of the snake, which Israel and the United States military has always seen Iran as that head. Okay, so they've been on the list for some time. We've known this.
Wait, the list? What, is Iran like some sort of sex offender here? Well, then again, I guess you could say that there's a good excuse for them raping the Middle East, so I don't know. Could go either way with this.
And the fact that we're striking in Iraq, the fact that we're going after Iranian militias, this just shows you the broader goal of the U.S. military-industrial complex, which is to take out Iran and also giving Israel more territory. You know, the whole idea is to have a greater Israel, to push back Hamas militants, obviously, and just get rid of them from Gaza, to kind of escalate and go further than the Golan Heights. Remember, President Donald John Trump just announced the Golan Heights not too long ago is permanent territory for Israel. So a greater Israel, pushing back Shia influence to have our alliance with Saudi Arabia be the most dominant. Obviously, we back the Sunnis in the Middle East, and Russia, China, and other nations back Shia, which is Iran, Hezbollah. So it's a religious war as well. We see Christians being persecuted all throughout the Middle East. We see Muslims and Christians fighting and killing each other for so long. It's always been like that in the Middle East, but we are in historic and some would say biblical times. So as we're heading to...
Oh, some would say biblical times. No, dude, the only people saying that is AMTV here trying to spread fear and panic among everyone here.
A very biblical year, 2020, a very historic, amazing year. We have an amazing president. We have amazing circumstances happening inside this country, which could also lead to dangers, which also lead to world affairs that will hit you if you're not prepared and if you're not looking. What Russia, China...
You hear that, guys? He's about to start talking about being prepared and buy the food kit, buy the food kit, buy the food kit.
Save the content. We gotta save it. Okay, yeah.
Holy shit.
Iran are planning, what we're planning and been conducting in space should have everybody worried. We pulled back out of the Russia treaty, okay? So nuclear arms, the nuclear arms race is beyond that. Now we're gonna have a nuclear arms space race. This is what we have.
Oh God, he's actually retarded. We pulled out of the intermediate ballistic treaty, I'm pretty sure. Which means there's still a treaty that you can't have a nuclear warhead pointed at people in space. Like, honestly, any credit I gave this guy for being intelligent has just gone right out the door on this one.
But remember, the creation of the Space Force, this has to be 100% clear, just means they've been there for years, probably decades, conducting operations.
Again, did this guy just like skip his history class or whatever? He had to have, because there, there's this whole period of ever since the 60s, we've done things in space along with other countries.
Now they're going to roll it out publicly, and there's going to be things that are going to shock people what's going to come out. We see all these UFO sightings, all this, the mainstream media is always picking this up now.
Wait, the mainstream media is just now picking up on it? What about all the other things that happened decades ago? I mean, you got like things like that, that show there was a show on that was like discussing the actual like Blue Book project that the government even launched here. And this guy's just got the audacity or just the stupidity to claim, oh no. This is the first time we've ever confirmed or even acknowledged aliens inside the government and the media.
All of these sightings, always reporting on it, conditioning the people to accept what the Space Force is going to reveal. So, historic times, major things.
Alright guys, AMTV's calling it 2020 aliens confirmed. If it doesn't happen, it'll be like the other 1,000 promises they've made last year.
That we're going to see leading into 2020. Don't forget, we're on the brink of war with Iran. We're conducting military operations in the Middle East against Iranian interests. They can conduct it against us as well. People are too complacent, thinking our foreign enemies can never touch us, and our only problem is domestic enemies, which that is an issue. But at the same time, guys, just be aware. Stay on your feet. The mainstream media's job is to confuse you, is to lie to you and distract you from real threats that our country has faced.
I'm pretty sure the way news works is it just reports, the news. It's not intentionally deceptive, except, to sell yellow print, which sucks nowadays because, you only get paid by the amount of clicks your articles get. And so, yeah, they're entitled. They're enticed. Fucking entitled. They're enticed to, sell, I guess, the modern form of news, clickbait. And so, yeah, it really sucks, but AMTV is just taking it a step too far here. Wait, isn't that what AMTV is? What am I even doing trying to defend them here? They are literally news clickbait, the worst it gets.
In the past and will continue to face in the future. My name is Chad Booksam. I love you guys so much. This is AMTV, hard hitting and in your face.
I couldn't even be bothered to check what that last bit of the clip is about. It's probably nothing important whatsoever. So yeah, that's really my conclusion. I'm coming back, maybe. I'll see how this video does, It's a new year, and I'm like the king of failed YouTube channels. But yeah, last video did pretty well on AMTV, so I figured I'd give it another chance. I didn't think this community really cared. I didn't bother to read the comment section, so maybe it's just a bunch of people shit-talking me, but, what can I say?